Pull up a chair and buckle up. It's the Original Strength Podcast. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning into this week's edition of the Original Strength Podcast. I am here with my friend Ana, the owner of KettlebellChicks.com. And Ana is, well, she's got an exciting story to tell. If you know anything about kettlebells, this story is just neat. But I'm going to stop talking because Ana can tell it better than I can. Ana, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Tim. This is great.
So Ana, how long have you been a personal trainer?
I've been a personal trainer in the industry since 2007, so 14 years.
14 years. What got you started being a trainer?
I think just from having a athletic background coming up. In high school, I played sports, varsity sports from basketball. I ran track, played a little bit of volleyball. And on my off season, I would often practice with the boys football team in their summer days, 2-a-day camp training. So, just really, really liking to sweat, really, really liking to work out, having the whole camaraderie of the fitness industry and sports and being in a team and feeling included. I feel like that was really important for me. So it was an easy transition to say, oh my God, I want to work with people. I want to be around workouts and helping people. And so for me, it was a really, really easy transition to do that.
And so since 2007, and what got you started with kettlebells?
Yeah, so with kettlebells, I was working at Bally's, and this guy came in, Mike Krifka, which came in, and he was working out with this guy, with this other trainer named Nasser. I would see them once in a while and, kind of mind my own business, being a new trainer. And Nasser, the guy he would work out with, was injured. He had an ankle injury or something. So Mike, not knowing that, came in with the same routine, 2 50-pound kettlebells, holding like they were suitcases, like no big deal. I didn't really know what kettlebells were back then, which a lot of people I don't think did. It wasn't until like maybe, recently people were like, oh, those are kettlebells. And so Mike would come in. Nasser was injured. Mike looked at me. I was eating pizza on my lunch break. And he goes, do you want to work out? And I was like, okay. So I went over, not even knowing his name. We worked out for an hour with a 25-pound kettlebell. Crushed me. Always crushed. And after that, he was coming in Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for an hour. And I would always remember feeling anxious. It's like, okay, it's Monday. Mike's coming in today. Because I always realized, oh my God, I'm going to die, right?
Are you sure it wasn't the anxiety of having pizza in your stomach and then swinging bells? Or
I think I probably stopped eating pizza by then because I knew better.
Because that would make me a little anxious.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. Back then, I could eat whatever I wanted. It was not healthy. But, you're young, you're 22, you could get away with it. Now, not so much.
You didn't even wait 30 minutes, after you ate. You just jumped right into the kettlebell training.
Right in. And, it didn't affect me. My metabolism was just racing all the time. So I could get away with it now. Don't recommend it. Not great for pre-workouts. And so I ended up working with Mike, and Mike eventually told me that, hey, I got a CrossFit gym, 2 miles away from the gym. Do you want to come help me work? And I'm like, okay, cool. And then working with Mike and assisting him at his box, he was gracious enough to sponsor me for my first CrossFit kettlebell certification. And back then, CrossFit did it a little differently. It was literally a Saturday, Sunday, 9 to 5, pass or fail course. Now it's like a 1-day course. You come, certificate of attendance and certification, and you're good to go. Back then, it was like 9 to 5, crushing workouts, being tested at the end of class. It was challenging, wiped me out. And that's when I met Jeff Martone. And Jeff, Jeff is considered a guru in the industry. He's been around for a long time, really, really well respected, the man, right?
He's a legend.
And so Jeff, I passed, thank God. And at the end of the course, Jeff demoed a Turkish Get Up with me, a human Turkish Get Up. And
what is that?
My first. So Turkish Get Up is a full body movement, compound movement in a grind that you literally do with a kettlebell, not a human or person. In it, you start laying down on the floor with your belt over your chest, and then you pivot up and go into a lunge, and then end up standing up with your arms overhead. And basically, instead of a kettlebell, he had me literally. I was balled up in a ball rolled up and flexed as hard as I could. And I was his kettlebell. And I weighed, I think, 115 pounds back then. It was like
Wow.
115, 117. And if you know Jeff, you know Jeff. He's got jacked up shoulders. They're always dislocating at night when he rolls over.
He had jacked up shoulders.
Yes, jacked up though, right? And so for me, I didn't know that. I just met Jeff. He was great. And so we did that and it was really cool. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. Everything, this is great. So Jeff ended up, coming to DC, Jersey, Virginia, Maryland, and would actually call me and say, hey, do you want to help out with this course? I dropped everything that I was doing. Saturday and Sunday, boom, I'm in there. Even if it was like a Friday night, he'd call me, yeah, I'm there. And for me, that was a way of, oh my God, I know he's the best in the industry. I'm going to learn whatever I can and absorb everything, right? So we started doing that. And then finally he picked me up on the roster as a paid trainer. So I was really excited about that. And so we worked together for about 10, 11 years with CrossFit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, and I think you also, Jeff turned you on to, you met Steve Cotter through Jeff. Is that right?
So I don't think I met Steve through Jeff. I'm not sure how I met Steve and Ken Blackburn. And they're with IKFF, International Kettlebell Fitness Federation. I just remember meeting Steve. Well, we connected. I'm not sure how. And he sponsored me to get my IKFF course in
Really?
I think Jersey. Yeah, New Jersey. So I went out there and I think it was a 2-day course. And fun story, I actually remember Steve calling me out like at a break and he was like, yeah, so Annabelle can swing and double kettlebells and flip and juggle. And I'm like, no, I can't. And I sent him a video before doing it, but I was like just starting out and trying new things. And I was like, oh my God, he's really going to make me do this in front of people. And so he handed me a 35-pound kettlebell, or it was, I don't even know, I normally worked with a 15-pound and it was a lot heavier than I was used to working with. So I was so nervous. They had music blasting in the background. And I flipped that kettlebell. They counted out loud. So you swing it and then you release it and the bell flips over and then you grip it again and you continue doing that move. And I think I did it like 26 times flipping it. And I was so happy when I dropped it because my grip was crushed. I was so nervous. And, that was one of the things that he put me on blast for. And it was a lot of fun, that course. But IKFF really does competition style training. So their course is a lot different from CrossFit. But for me, it was really nice to kind of see the difference of what other outfits really, really focused on. So for me, having that background and be able to implement it into my workout routine, most of my training that I do is competition style bell training, like my snatches and my cleans and my, long cycles. So it was a lot of fun meeting those guys.
So wait, though, I met you at Mike Krifka's place.
Yes.
And that was at a RKC kettlebell training.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
With Dan John?
With Dan John, yes.
Yep.
So you've done CrossFit, kettlebell, and really you've done Jeff Martone. Like he if you worked with him for 10 years, some kettlebell, but you stayed open and you went to IKFF and then you also went to some RKC stuff. Like that's
RKC. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty
Strong First.
Oh, you did Strong First too?
First in Virginia, some CrossFit in Virginia. And most of the people that were assisting, which were like 12 people assisting, I was so overwhelmed. I was like, why are there so many people here assisting? That was my first Strong First anything. And there were literally 12 Strong First assistants. And most of them recognized me. And literally one came up, the head trainer came up and he goes, hey, what are you doing here? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, aren't you a CrossFit coach? CrossFit kettlebell coach? You work with Jeff. And I'm like, yeah. Me just wanted to learn the different styles. And Strong First is really similar to CrossFit, super similar. So for me, it was just kind of like, I was just there just to kind of spectate. They actually ended up sending me home at lunchtime. They're like, you don't need this. And I was like, okay, bye. Yeah. So, I was hungry. I was like, okay, bye guys. I didn't bring my lunch. And so, yeah, that was interesting.
Well, that's really neat though, that you weren't married to one style and you were open to learning, all the different styles that are out there.
Yeah. They're pretty neat. All these guys that branched out with IKFF, tactical athlete with Jeff Martone, Steve Carter. They're all doing their thing. They all learned under Pavel, and so that's really neat to see what all these people are doing that studied under, Pavel is the one that brought kettlebell, made them popular in the early 2000s. So
Yes.
for me to be able to work with all these guys under Pavel, I'm like, oh my God, who am I? You know what I mean? So it was really neat.
So you are very passionate about kettlebells, so much so that you decided to become a manufacturer of kettlebells to make your own, which
Yes.
is pretty neat because at the time, like I used to have a kettlebell fever. But I had a habit of, I would just buy a bunch of kettlebells, but I don't think I ever thought, why don't I make a bunch of kettlebells? So how did that happen?
It first happened just being in the industry and recognizing that, although being in the position that I'm in with all these years of experience and working with the top people in the industry that are really, really respected and recognized as gurus, I just felt like, despite of my position and my knowledge, I really wasn't seen as an equal counterpart to my colleagues, like at all. And it really, really was evident when, and this happened on more than one occasion, but especially at a Marine Corps base. I'm not sure which one. Jeff and I went in and we trained all these lieutenants and all these guys that, just had all this testosterone buildup. And Jeff literally at one point talked to them and said, hey guys, like, this is a pass or fail certification. Anvil's going to pass or fail you. So listen up, because anytime I would demonstrate or teach them whatever move we were doing, they'd either, go from yes, sir to Jeff and, talking to their friends while I was talking. And so it was really obvious. And for me, I always felt like, just women in the industry aren't recognized as much. We're not in the positions that we could be, despite our talent or experience. And that's how I see women in the industry. I feel like we're very, very underutilized, but very, very effective. And so when it came to creating the Kettlebell Chicks movement, I wanted to bring all women from all different walks of life, age, size, doesn't matter, background, to come and work and gather with kettlebells. And I use that as a metaphor. Kettlebells in the box, in the CrossFit world, in any world, I feel like they're the most underutilized tool, but very, very effective. I mean, you can get a full body workout with these bells: cardio, strength training, conditioning, grip strength, alertness, clarity, all that good stuff, all these benefits, but they're underutilized because a lot of people don't know how to use them because they're considered a specialty. And also they're very, very intimidating looking, right? So a lot of people just steer away from it because what are these big cast iron steel kettlebells? And so it started as a movement, and then it really, really just became, it became a sister company, and then it kind of just took over, and that's what I'm known for now, So yeah, I said, why don't we just develop our own kettlebells?
And they are pretty bells. I'm gonna say, so the trouble I always had sometimes, I mean, if you found a bell that you liked, like the handle and the distance from the handle to the bell, like that was, especially if they weren't competition bells, because you could get anything.
Right.
And it would be frustrating to get a bell that you really couldn't use for certain things because it hurt and it didn't feel good.
And like you mentioned, competition versus non, there are these standard cast black iron kettlebells. And, the difference between those standard bells is that as the weight gets higher, the bell actually gets bigger. So we go from small bells to bigger and larger bells. And for some people, like, that's not comfortable, especially the biomechanics of where the bell rests in the rack position. It's really going to create that dent in that forearm, and it's really uncomfortable. Versus the competition size kettlebells, these are steel, they're lifetime guaranteed, they're not going to crack or break. I've personally done a brief demo on that, taking a hammer and trying to slash them, dropping it from a building. I've done all that. And these are competition size bells. Competition size bells in the industry literally all look the same, but just different colors based on their weight. So naturally, the 8 kilograms are a light baby pink, and then the 12 kilograms are kind of like a bold blue. And that's really across the entire manufacturing company. Everyone kind of has those guidelines. Me, I want to kind of create something that was outside of the box, kind of like, what is the future of fitness? What does this mean to me? What is going to have people motivated to kind of swing with a bell? And I thought, hey, style of the kettlebell, the dimensions, how it looks, how pretty it is. And I feel like this is it. The hot pink are signature style bells, and eventually we want to launch every hot pink color there is. So our next uh, bell in line are the hot purple ones, and so we kind of want to create something different that was outside of the box and break that stigma of the same routine, which it's fine, it's great, but I feel like there needs to be some change in the kettlebell world.
And you're selling bells, and you have Kettlebell Chicks. So it's a silly question, but can guys buy your kettlebells too? I
So
mean,
yeah, so although pink are signature colors and all these great fun colors, like I feel like only a real man will swing a hot pink kettlebell. Come on. But also
I'm
we
with you.
also, I mean, right. But we've also developed an all black matte kettlebell, and we wanted to represent and stick behind what we believe in, which is the Black Lives Matter movement. And that was really dear to me because just a person of color in the industry, like I've gone through a lot. And just not having the same positionings or equality or fairness, that was really important for us to do because we stand behind this movement, and we wanted not to deter any guys from not buying our quality, our equipment or our products. So we wanted to create something black that was inviting for men. But this is limited edition, and 30% of the proceeds are actually going to the NAACP
Oh, that's
that
awesome.
we get. So yeah, so Black Lives Matter and signature hot pink bells.
Awesome. So if they want to buy the bells, they can go to kettlebellchicks.com.
Right.
But if they want to learn how to use them, where can they go?
Yeah, so we have pre-recorded on-demand classes. We've got a 5-day week live stream class. We also have like Kettlebell 101 swing series clinics, which are dense courses, which is basically you're learning all the biomechanics, breathing techniques, common errors, all that good stuff. And you can find that at www.annabellsfitness.com and register through our Mind Body app.
This might be hard to answer, but you're passionate, so I want to see what you'll say. Why should a person train with kettlebells?
Yeah, I know a person should train with kettlebell because really kettlebells are a gym in your hand. You don't really need a fancy boutique gym membership to get a great effective workout. You can utilize the bell with, some of the benefits that it offers are strength training, uh, you know, alertness, hand-eye coordination, grip strength, cardiovascular, everything that really you need to do to have a well-balanced fitness routine right at the grip of your hands. So whether it's a 20-minute workout, quick for moms, busy moms, or whoever, or a 1-hour crushing workout, it is really, really a great foundation tool that you can have. Doesn't take up a lot of space. You can throw this in the corner under your bed. Really, really versatile tool. It really is the future of fitness.
Awesome. So I got to ask you about another tool of fitness, though.
Yeah.
The battling rope.
Yes.
Tell me about John Brookfield.
John Brookfield is our friend. Great man. Also, the godfather, creator of, and inventor of the battling rope system. John has been a friend of mine since 2007. I met him at Valley Total Fitness. I was one of the first trainers that actually got his battling rope certification.
You know what? He told me the same thing, though, so I don't know. I'm going to have to check with him.
Wait, when did you get your certification?
2006 or 7, somewhere in there.
Okay, well, then you beat me to it. He probably does tell people that.
I think he just tells people that.
It's a good look. You know what I mean? Makes you feel good. So that's when I met John. And John and I really just kind of corresponded through email back then. After, I'd send him pictures and videos like, hey, John, do I have good form? Is this good? And John was just so nice, so available, so inviting. And we just kind of really developed a good friendship after that. And I would assist him and host with him some seminars that he'd do in the area. And, he eventually ended up inviting me to his house. Me and his wife, Sherry, are really, really good friends. She's so dear to me. She's everything. And so, they were great hosts. And I remember going to his house on Saturday, staying for Sunday. And literally it was breakfast, train, lunch, training, dinner, training. It was nonstop training, and I was crushed. And, you know, I was just like amazed at what he was doing and all these systems that he's created, like the barrel training system. He's amazing. His mind is just on another level when it comes to developing these programs.
You know why he has people stay the weekend when they train with him, right?
Why?
Because they're too weak and tired to leave.
I'm telling you, that's facts. That is straight facts. I remember just, I've been to John's house like 5-6 times. And, every time he invites me, it's more like, yeah, we'll go hiking, we'll go ride the bike. And I'm like, no, there's more to that. You're going to kill me. And literally I went with his wife one weekend that it was just like a fun trip. They killed me. We went on like a 3-mile or 3-hour bike ride. Then we went hiking, and I'm like, you guys, I'm wiped out. And for them, they do that every single day.
Oh, yeah.
They're in great shape. Great shape.
I have never met anybody that can push their body and their mind I want to say to the limits, but I don't think he has any limits. But he's extraordinary.
It is extraordinary. And, I love the fact that like John trains outside and any type of weather, and just that's all mentality training, mental training. You can be in the snow, in the exhausting heat, and still do that's all mental. And he's got that.
But in the snow, in his underwear.
That's right.
He wants to make it as extreme as possible. To get out any weaknesses in his mind. It's amazing.
It's phenomenal because he had me up in a plank with resistor bands around my ankles, pulling a rope. And I'm like, I can't. And he's, yeah, you can. And I'm like, I just really can't. And I ended up doing it. But man, he could probably do that and hold a plank on the wall for like hours.
This is no lie. He's teaching me how to do the pole pull.
Yeah.
You do it for a mile or whatever. But my arms, my elbows, my biceps cramped up and I couldn't move my arms. And I was like, Mr. Brookfield, I can't move my arms anymore. And he looked at me and goes, but your fingers work, don't they? And I was like, yes. He goes, okay, well, keep pulling then. You can do it.
Yeah.
And so I had to pull the rest of the rope like this with my wrist and fingers.
How'd that work out?
I finished, but
right.
and John told me that yes, indeed, my fingers will work, and until they don't, just like my arms worked until they didn't. So.
Oh, I bet. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
But he's amazing, everything I've learned is a great, especially about the body and what just the amazing things we're capable of. I mean, I owe that to John.
Yeah, John's got some great books out there too. So. Got to check them out as well. John Brookfield.
Yeah. So if you've never heard of John Brookfield, you really have, because he created the battling rope system. And if you've ever seen anybody exercise with a rope, it's because of that one guy.
It's because of John. John's giving them his blessings,
That's it. So Fun story, if you haven't heard also, the battling ropes were created so John could beat the world record in pulling a 40,000 pound transfer trailer truck 1 mile.
Right.
I have no idea what putting waves through a rope, how that equates to pulling a truck with your legs 1 mile, but somehow it worked and John broke the world record more than once. It worked.
Yep. He's brilliant.
Ana, thank you so much for spending your time and being on the show with us today. Really appreciate having you.
Thanks so much, Tim, for having me. Looking forward to our next one.
Guys, if you want to check out Ana's bells, go to kettlebellchick.com. If you want to check out her training sessions and learn how to use the bells, go to annabellsfitness.com. Is that right?
Yes, perfect.
We will put that in the section of the notes section. Ana, thank you so much. And everyone, thanks for watching.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great weekend.